You've done the time and you've put in all the hours of training. And the key to turning that training into a successful race is to know exactly what you're in for on race day. So let me talk you through the 21-kilometer route of the Old Mutual Two Oceans half marathon and explain exactly what you can expect and what that route will throw at you. The first few kilometers are relatively flat until you turn onto the M3, and that's where the long climb up Edinburgh Drive begins. But two problems can affect your race at this point. The first is that it's still going to be very dark, and the second is that you will be surrounded by thousands of people. And the combination of those two things makes it quite tempting to push the pace, so it's important to have your wits about you so that you don't get sucked into the adrenaline and the energy of the race in these opening kilometers. Shortly after 4 kilometers, you begin a long descent which takes you along the highway. Again, it's very dark here, so it's very easy to misjudge your pace, and it's also easy to trip over cat's eyes and to lose your footing, so please pay attention and don't fall foul of that particular trap. That descent takes you to around the 6-kilometer mark, which is where you leave the highway and you then cross over the M3, and now you're into the leafy suburbs of Constantia. It's here that you have a few kilometers of relatively flat road to get your rhythm together, to just get everything sorted out, because you're about to tackle the race's big challenge, which is the climb of Southern Cross Drive. That climb starts shortly after the 10-kilometer mark. The steepest part is the top part, and so you have to anticipate that in terms of how you spend your energy on the climb. And when you get to the top of Southern Cross, which is at the 13-kilometer mark, you can look forward to about a kilometer of relatively steep descent. But it's this moment in the race that you should just gather your thoughts, and you can look forward to a few bumpy challenges as you make your way past Cecilia Forest and then on towards the top gate of Kirstenbosch. The bottom gate of Kirstenbosch comes at the 17-kilometer mark. It's one of the most beautiful sections of the race with tree cover, and it's also one of the fastest sections of the race, where you can really cash in on your well-managed race to that point by making up some time. Shortly after 18 kilometers, you'll make a left-hand turn onto the M3, and you'll then encounter Chet's Hill, which no one tells you about, and which under normal circumstances would not be that much of a challenge. The problem is, after 18k, you may be tired, and Chet's Hill will feel like Chet's Mountain. It's not, it's only a few hundred meters long, so work hard to get to the summit of that little challenge, and then you have a relatively flat 2 kilometers to look forward to on your way back to the finish line at UCT. So that's an overview of the half marathon route. I think the key points, if I can reinforce them, are patience. You have to hold yourself back at the start so that you don't do too much on the big hill up Edinburgh Drive, and then even more importantly, you have to hold yourself back on the descent from the top of Edinburgh Drive down towards Constantia. It's in that descent that I think a lot of people go too fast and they soften their legs up and they get a little bit too tired, and when they then have to tackle Southern Cross, they find that they have nothing left. So be patient there, work hard up Southern Cross, and with 8 kilometers to go, that's where you cash in. I strongly recommend also that if you can, check the route out before the day so that you know what to expect. I wish you all the best for your race. Have a good one.